Hello, I'm Laine Gonzales, aka the Ecological Badass, and I want to welcome you to my podcast series. Today, I'll be sharing one of my personal tales of adventure. I hope that my story will help you connect to your own internal badass. I'd really love to inspire you to get out into this big, beautiful world and make your own kind of difference. So lace up those hiking boots, grab that day pack, let's get going. Laine Gonzales here, the Ecological Badass. And I want to welcome you to the very first episode of my podcast series. Today's about introductions because you probably want to know a little bit about me. You probably are curious about where that title came from. And I would like to let you know what to expect from this podcast series. So let's get rolling. First of all, I'm a high school teacher. I have been for 22 years. Now that job requires a certain amount of badass. You might still be wondering, what about the ecology piece? Well, for that, I have to go back to childhood because I was a fat kid. And you know what happens to fat kids? We get teased mercilessly. Well, I didn't want to get teased. So instead of hanging out with kids, I hung out with my dog. Now, the lucky part of my childhood is I lived in a community surrounded by open spaces. So I'd take my dog and we'd go to the fields, we would go to the river, we would go to the park, we would chase rabbits, we would tunnel through bushes, we would build forts. Oh, we had such a great time. And in those open spaces out there, I felt such freedom. And in fact, I realized those places were my safe havens. That is where my lifelong passion for ecology began. So I probably convinced you on the ecology piece, but before I go any further, I probably should explain what I mean by ecology. Well, it's a science, and in fact, it is the science of observing living things and how they interact with one another and the non-living world around them. So for me, that observation started back when I was hiding out with my dog. Now, I have been so lucky because I have had the incredible opportunity to go all around the world observing animal behavior. I've been to all 7 continents. I've been to most of the 50 states. I have either worked or studied or volunteered in such crazy habitats as the Antarctic polar desert and the Bornean tropical rainforest. Yes, I've been to Antarctica, even though I am definitely a cold weather wimp. So, there's the ecology piece. Now, I get it. You might still be looking at me and going, well, what makes her such a badass? By definition, and yes, there is a definition of badass, a badass is a tough and uncompromising person. Now, in this podcast series, you're going to hear that when it comes to this beautiful planet, and all of the creatures that share it with you and me, I'm pretty tough and I'm pretty uncompromising. So, like I said, I've been a high school teacher for 22 years. And my students have, whether they know it or not, they've helped me work out something pretty important. And what that is how do I share with them the problems that are facing this planet, but do it in such a way that they feel energized, They want to go out and make a difference. Well, I've come to realize that one of the best ways to do that is by sharing my stories, my experiences. My students have taught me that a good story can go a long way, not just in educating, but in inspiring and motivating. And for me, it has been a great gift to be able to share with them. And now the time has come to expand my audience. Yes, I want to expand it to include you. So what am I going to be doing in this podcast series? I'm going to be telling you stories. You just get to listen and enjoy. Hey, it doesn't get much better than that. Now, what am I hoping? I'm hoping that you will decide it's time for you to get out there and make a difference. In fact, what would be awesome is if in the process, you get in touch with your own ecological badass. Anyway, the first real episode, first story, coming soon. Hope to see you there. In the meantime, feel free to reach out. Let me know about your adventures. I'd love to hear from you. All right, Ecological Badass, signing off until next time. See you soon.